Goals give you direction. Systems give you momentum. You can have the biggest dream, the clearest vision, the boldest goal, but if you don't have a system to move you toward it every single day, that dream remains a fantasy. A goal might tell you where you want to go, but a system decides if you're actually going to get there. It's the difference between saying, I want to win, and doing the work every single day that makes winning inevitable. Everybody loves to talk about goals. I want to be successful. I want to get fit. I want to make $1 million. But goals are easy to set. Systems are hard to build because systems demand daily effort. Systems don't care how you feel that day. Systems don't need your excitement. They need your commitment. The truth is, when you only focus on goals, you live in a constant state of chasing. You wake up every day feeling like you're behind because you haven't reached that goal yet. But when you focus on a Palo-Nas system, you wake up with purpose because you know what to do next. You're not waiting for a result to feel progress, you're living it every day. A goal might be to run a marathon. The system is waking up at 5 a.m. and putting in the miles, whether it's raining, snowing, or sunny. A goal might be to start a business. The system is studying, networking, creating, failing, adjusting, and showing up every day when nobody's watching. A goal might be to become a better person. The system is reading, reflecting, praying, meditating, forgiving, and practicing gratitude even when your emotions don't agree. Systems are not glamorous. They don't look exciting on social media, but they're what separate the dreamers from the doers. Goals can inspire you, but they can also paralyze you. Because when the distance between where you are and where you want to be feels too big, most people freeze. But systems break that distance into steps. One action, one decision, one discipline at a time. Systems build momentum, and momentum changes everything. Momentum makes you powerful. When you start to move even a little, that movement builds energy. That energy creates confidence, and confidence creates consistency. And before you know it, you look back and realize you're no longer chasing the goal. You've become the kind of person who achieves it naturally. Think about it. Anybody can set a goal to write a book, but not everyone becomes a writer. A writer isn't defined by the finished book. They're defined by the habit of writing every day. The goal is an event, but the system is identity. When you focus on systems, you stop obsessing about outcomes and start building the kind of person who can handle them. You shift from I want that result to I'm becoming that person. And that shift, that change in identity is where real transformation begins. Most people never fail because their goals were too big. They fail because their systems were too weak. You can't rise to the level of your dreams. You fall to the level of your habits. A goal might tell you to aim for the top of the mountain, but your system is what builds the legs, lungs, and endurance to actually climb it. You can't control the weather on the mountain. You can't control the slope, but you can control your preparation, your consistency, your process. That's what systems give you control over what's within your reach. And here's the truth most people don't want to admit. Goals feel good to set because they make us feel like we're already achieving something. But systems, they're quiet, they're repetitive, they're often boring, but they're also honest. Systems show you what you really want because they reveal what you're willing to repeat. You say you want change? Then look at your system because your life right now is perfectly designed for the results you're getting. Momentum is built by motion, not intention. The system gives you that motion. Every time you follow your system, even when you don't feel like it, you add one more brick to the foundation of who you're becoming. One more rep, one more page, one more day of consistency, it all stacks up. And once momentum is built, it becomes your best friend. It starts to carry you forward even on the days your energy is low. Because when you've built a strong system, you no longer rely on motivation, you rely on structure. Goals are about direction. They tell you what mountain to climb. Systems are about progress. They make sure you keep taking steps, one after another, until the summit is yours. Without direction, you're lost. Without momentum, you're stuck. But when you have both, when your system aligns with your goal, you become unstoppable. Fall in love with the process, not the prize. Because the truth is, the prize will fade, but the process will shape you forever. Everybody wants the reward, but very few are willing to endure the routine that produces it. We live in a world that celebrates the highlight reel, the trophy, the spotlight, the success, but the real growth happens in the shadows, in the quiet hours when no one's watching. The process is where you find out who you really are. The process is where your character is forged, your mindset is tested, and your heart is revealed. When you fall in love with the process, you stop chasing validation and start chasing growth. You stop asking, when will I get there? And start asking, how can I get better today? The process doesn't always feel good. It's not always glamorous. It's repetition. It's failure. It's early mornings and late nights. It's sacrifice and silence. But that's where the strength is built. The process doesn't promise comfort, it promises transformation. Every rep, every page, every conversation, every decision, it's all part of shaping you into the person who's capable of handling the prize when it finally comes. The problem with chasing the prize is that once you get it, it's over. You hit the goal, you take the picture, you post it online, and then what? The high fades. The excitement disappears. You start looking for the next thing, the next goal, the next mountain. But when you love the process, you never run out of purpose because the process never ends. There's always more to learn, more to give, more to grow. The process gives you something the prize never can fulfillment. The process keeps you grounded. It reminds you that success isn't built in moments, it's built in consistency. The prize might put you on a stage for a day, but the process keeps you standing for a lifetime. People often think that the grind is temporary, that once they reach a certain level, they can relax. But the great ones know that the grind is permanent. It's not something you escape, it's something you embrace. Because the grind isn't punishment, it's preparation. It's the fire that purifies you, the weight that strengthens you, the test that reveals what's real. When you fall in love with the process, you stop needing everything to go your way. You stop complaining about how hard it is because you understand that the hardship is part of the journey. You stop looking for shortcuts because you realize shortcuts rob you of strength. You stop comparing your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20 because you understand your story is being written at its own pace. Falling in love with the process means you find joy in progress, not perfection. You celebrate effort, not just outcome. You find satisfaction in the work itself, not just the result it brings. There's something powerful about showing up every day when nobody's watching. Something sacred about doing the work when it doesn't yet seem to matter. Because that's where integrity lives. That's where greatness grows. Every small decision, every act of discipline, every moment of persistence, those are the bricks that build the foundation for success. People will see the prize, but they'll never understand the price you paid in the process. And that's okay, because the process was never about them. It was about you versus you. You see, when you're obsessed with the prize, you quit when it gets hard. But when you're in love with the process, you push through it because you understand that the struggle is the soil where growth happens. You understand that pain is not punishment, it's progress. You learn to trust the journey even when you don't yet see the destination. The process teaches you patience, humility, gratitude, and resilience. It breaks you down just enough to build you up stronger than you were before. Every champion, every leader, every success story was once a beginner who learned to love the work. The late nights, the early mornings, the failures, the rejections, they didn't run from them, they embraced them. Because the process was the real prize all along. The reward wasn't the medal, the fame, or the applause, it was who they became in pursuit of it. That's why the ones who truly succeed don't stop when they win. They keep going. Because their identity isn't tied to the trophy, it's tied to the pursuit. Falling in love with the process means learning to smile through the struggle. It means appreciating the small victories, the unseen progress, the quiet growth. It means knowing that every step, no matter how small, is movement forward. It means trusting that even on the days you don't feel like it, the process is working for you, building you, refining you. Because one day, you'll look back and realize that the process was never in the way it was the way. Consistency beats intensity, because what you do every day will always matter more than what you do once in a while. Too many people go all in for a week, give everything they've got, and then disappear when the excitement fades. But success doesn't belong to the one who starts strong. It belongs to the one who stays steady. Intensity can spark a fire, but consistency keeps it burning. It's not about how loud you start. It's about how long you last. Anyone can show up on the days they feel good. Anyone can give effort when motivation is high, when people are watching, when the mood is right. But consistency is about showing up when nobody claps, when the results are slow, when your body's tired and your mind is doubting. It's the commitment to keep pushing even when progress feels invisible. Because consistency isn't about perfection, it's about persistence. It's not doing everything right, it's doing the right things repeatedly until they become part of who you are. We live in a world obsessed with intensity, quick fixes, overnight success, viral moments. Everyone wants to sprint, but very few are willing to run the marathon. The truth is, intensity is exciting, but it's not sustainable. You can go hard for a moment, but consistency demands that you go again tomorrow, and the next day, and the day after that. It's the quiet discipline of repetition. The kind that doesn't post online, doesn't brag, doesn't shout, it just works. Day after day, brick by brick, it builds something real. Intensity burns calories, consistency builds character. Intensity gives you a rush, consistency gives you results. You can train intensely one day, but if you don't show up the next, that effort fades. You can be extremely motivated for a week, but if you quit when life gets tough, that motivation meant nothing. The people who win are not always the most talented, they're the ones who refuse to stop. Because consistent effort compounds. The small things, repeated with discipline, create massive change over time. Think about water. A single drop means nothing, but drop after drop after drop, it can carve through stone. That's the power of consistency. It's not loud, it's not fast, but it's relentless. It's the same with your dreams. You don't achieve them by one big moment of greatness, you earn them through countless small moments of faithfulness. Every early morning, every late night, every quiet decision to stay the course when it would have been easier to quit, that's where greatness is built. People underestimate how much can happen when you just don't stop. They think it takes giant leaps, but often it's tiny steps taken consistently that lead to transformation. The gym goer who works out 20 minutes every day will always surpass the one who trains hard for 3 hours once a month. The writer who writes 1 page a day will finish a book before the one who writes 10 pages once and then gives up. The student who studies a little every night will outperform the one who crams for a week and burns out. Consistency isn't glamorous, but it's undefeated. The beauty of consistency is that it builds trust with yourself. Every time you show up, you cast a vote for the person you're becoming. You prove to yourself that you can be counted on. And when you trust yourself, confidence grows. You don't need to hype yourself up to take action, you just do it, because that's who you are now. Consistency transforms effort into identity. It turns I'm trying into I am. That's how lasting success is born, not from a single burst of energy, but from a lifestyle of commitment. Intensity makes noise, but consistency makes progress. When you're consistent, you don't need to announce it. People will see it in your results, your discipline, your attitude. They'll feel it in your energy, because consistency becomes part of your DNA. It's not something you do, it's something you live. And once you've built that rhythm, even on the days when you don't feel strong, your habits will carry you. You won't need to force it, you'll flow with it. There's nothing wrong with passion, nothing wrong with intensity, it's powerful fuel. But fuel without control burns out. Passion without discipline fades away. Consistency is the structure that keeps the fire alive. It's the promise you make to yourself that no matter what happens, you'll keep showing up. Rain or shine, win or lose, up or down. Because you understand that greatness isn't earned in one moment, it's accumulated over thousands of moments that most people never see. The real secret is that consistency doesn't demand perfection. You can miss a day, stumble, fail, and still win if you get back up and keep going. Because consistency is not about never falling, it's about never staying down. Every time you rise again, every time you keep your word to yourself, you strengthen your foundation. That's how champions are made. They're not built on flashes of brilliance. They're built on patterns of persistence. The ones who keep showing up long after the excitement fades are the ones who create legacies. Discipline over motivation. Because motivation is a feeling, but discipline is a decision. Motivation is loud, it's exciting, it's emotional, but it's temporary. It comes and goes like the weather. One day you wake up ready to take on the world, and the next you can barely get out of bed. But discipline doesn't care how you feel. Discipline shows up whether it's sunny or raining, whether you're tired or inspired, whether people are cheering for you or ignoring you. Motivation might start the engine, but discipline drives the car. Everybody loves to talk about being motivated. We watch a video, hear a quote, or read a story, and for a moment, something inside us lights up. We feel unstoppable. But when the music stops, when the emotions fade, when life gets heavy again, that's when most people quit, because they were depending on motivation to carry them. But the truth is, motivation can't carry you through the storm, only discipline can. Discipline doesn't need to feel good to do good. It's not driven by excitement, it's driven by commitment. It's the ability to keep doing what needs to be done even when you no longer feel like doing it. Motivation asks, do I feel ready? Discipline says, I'll do it anyway. Motivation works when things are going your way. Discipline works when nothing is, and that's why discipline always wins. Because it's not built on emotion, it's built on structure, routine, and responsibility. Discipline is the quiet force behind every success story you admire. You see the achievements, the trophies, the moments of glory, but what you don't see are the mornings when that person didn't want to get up, didn't feel inspired, but still did. That's discipline. The truth is, discipline doesn't always feel good in the moment. It often feels boring, repetitive, uncomfortable. But discipline understands something: motivation never will. That feelings are temporary, but habits are permanent. Every time you choose discipline, you're training yourself to follow through no matter what. You're building a muscle that can't be faked. And that muscle consistency is what separates the ones who dream from the ones who achieve. Because motivation gets you started, but discipline keeps you moving when the excitement wears off. You don't need to be motivated to show up. You need to be disciplined enough to show up without motivation. That's where the difference is made. Anyone can work hard on the days they feel good. But it's what you do on the days you feel nothing that defines your future. It's easy to go to the gym when you're pumped up. It's hard to go when you're exhausted. It's easy to study when you're interested. It's hard when you're distracted. It's easy to be kind when people are kind to you. It's hard when they're not. Discipline doesn't care about easy. Discipline chooses right over easy every time. When you live by motivation, your effort is unpredictable. Some days you give 100%, some days you give nothing. But when you live by discipline, your effort is consistent. You do what's required, not what's convenient. You learn to stop negotiating with yourself. Because the moment you start negotiating, you give your feelings the power to control your future. Discipline takes that power back. Discipline says, I made a promise to myself and I intend to keep it. Discipline is freedom. It doesn't trap you, it frees you from being a prisoner of your emotions. It frees you from waiting for the perfect moment. It frees you from procrastination and excuses. When you are disciplined, you don't wait to feel ready, you act your way into readiness. You don't wait for motivation, you create momentum through action. And once you build momentum, everything changes. Because momentum creates energy, and that energy reignites motivation. It's not motivation that leads to action, it's action that reignites motivation. Discipline is the bridge that connects the two. Discipline also builds trust with yourself. Every time you follow through, even when you don't feel like it, you strengthen your belief in yourself. You start to see that you are capable of doing hard things, and that belief becomes your foundation. Motivation can inspire you for a moment, but discipline builds your identity. You stop saying, I want to be, and start living. I am. You stop wishing for progress and start creating it. You stop waiting for a spark and become your own fire. There will always be days when you don't feel like it. Days when life hits hard, when energy is low, when doubt creeps in. That's when discipline steps forward. That's when you remember why you started. Because discipline doesn't need applause, it doesn't need excitement, it just needs purpose. The strongest people aren't always the most motivated, they're the most disciplined. They understand that the work has to get done, regardless of the mood. And when you live that way long enough, something incredible happens. You stop needing motivation altogether. You stop chasing the feeling and start trusting the process. Because you know deep down that every time you choose discipline, you move one step closer to the person you were meant to become. Track habits, not just results. Because results are the outcome, but habits are the cause. Too many people spend their time obsessing over the scoreboard instead of focusing on the plays that actually win the game. They stare at the scale instead of focusing on their nutrition. They check the numbers instead of checking their effort. They get discouraged when progress seems slow because they're measuring the wrong thing. The truth is, results don't come from wishing, they come from what you repeatedly do. Habits create patterns, and patterns create outcomes. If you want to change your results, you have to change your habits. Most people quit not because their goal was impossible, but because they couldn't see progress fast enough. That's what happens when you only track results. You start working out and expect to see change in a week. You start saving money and want to see your account grow instantly. You start a business and expect it to explode overnight. But results take time, and during that time, your mind plays tricks on you It tells you it's not working. It tells you to stop. But if you were tracking habits, you'd see that every small step is building something powerful beneath the surface. Every day you show up, every habit you stick to, you're laying the bricks of your future. The wall might not be finished yet, but it's growing stronger with every layer. Tracking habits keeps you grounded in the process. It gives you something to celebrate when the results haven't shown up yet. Because results are delayed, they're the harvest that comes after a season of planting. Habits are the seeds. You don't plant a seed today and expect a tree tomorrow. You water it, nurture it, protect it, and trust that growth is happening underground even when you can't see it. That's how success works. It's invisible before it becomes undeniable. And if you give up too early, you'll never know how close you were to the breakthrough. When you track habits, you take control of what you can control. You can't control how fast the results come, but you can control how consistently you show up. You can't control every outcome, but you can control every action. That's why the best performers, the most disciplined people, they measure their actions, not their emotions. They don't judge themselves by what they've achieved yet, but by how well they've stayed committed to the system. Because they know that if the system is right, the results will follow. Results can be tricky because they lie sometimes. You can do everything right for weeks and still not see change. Or you can get lucky once and think you've mastered the game. But habits don't lie. They show you the truth every day. They tell you if you're consistent, if you're improving, if you're keeping promises to yourself. Habits are honest. They're the mirror that reflects your effort. And when you start tracking them, you start realizing how much power you actually have over your life. Tracking habits also builds momentum. Every time you check off a small win, your brain gets a little hit of accomplishment. It reminds you that progress is happening, that effort matters. That's how you stay motivated when results feel far away. You start to crave consistency because you can see it, touch it, measure it. You build a streak and you don't want to break it. That's how transformation happens, not through one big push, but through countless small decisions repeated daily until they become automatic. When you focus only on results, your self-worth starts to fluctuate. You feel good when things go right and defeated when they don't. But when you focus on habits, you find stability, because success becomes something you can create every single day. You might not control the outcome, but you control the input. You control whether you train, whether you read, whether you show up. And that control gives you confidence. It reminds you that even if the results haven't arrived yet, you're still moving in the right direction. The truth is, big results are just the accumulation of small habits done consistently. Every writer who published a book started by writing 1 page a day. Every athlete who won a championship started by practicing fundamentals every morning. Every entrepreneur who built a company started by doing one thing faithfully over and over again. The world sees the results. They don't see the habits. But the habits are what make the results possible. Tracking habits keeps your focus on growth instead of gratification. It shifts your mindset from I have to win to I have to improve. And when you live that way, results stop being the goal, they become the byproduct. Because once you build the right habits, success becomes predictable. It's no longer about luck or timing, it's about consistency. And the more consistent you become, the less you have to chase results, because they start chasing you. So don't just ask yourself what you want to achieve, ask yourself what habits you're willing to repeat every single day to make it real. Because results might show the world what you've done, but your habits show the world who you are. Success is a byproduct of alignment. Real success isn't about chasing everything, it's about aligning everything. Your values, your purpose, your actions, your habits, your mindset, they all have to move in the same direction, because when they don't, life feels heavy. You can be busy every day, but still feel stuck. You can be working hard, but still not moving forward. That's what happens when effort isn't aligned with intention. You're running fast, but in the wrong direction. Alignment is what turns movement into progress. It's what turns effort into impact. Most people think success comes from hustling hard or grinding longer, doing more. But you can't outwork misalignment. You can't win the race if your ladder is leaning on the wrong wall. Alignment means clarity. It means understanding who you are, what you stand for, and where you're going. It means your actions reflect your values, and your values guide your decisions. Because when what you do doesn't match what you believe, you create inner conflict. That's why so many people achieve external success but feel internal emptiness. They reached the goal, but it wasn't their goal. They climbed the mountain, but it wasn't their mountain. Alignment gives your success meaning. It takes your ambition and connects it to your purpose. It's not about doing more, it's about doing what matters. When your work, your relationships, your mindset, and your habits are in harmony with your deeper purpose, everything flows. You don't have to force it. You don't have to fake it. You just operate from a place of peace, even while pushing through pressure. Because alignment brings peace, and peace brings power. You move differently when you're aligned. You move with direction, not desperation. When you're misaligned, you feel it. You wake up drained. You second guess everything. You chase validation instead of fulfillment. You keep saying yes to things that don't feed your purpose. And no matter how much you achieve, it never feels enough. Because success without alignment always feels empty. It's like drinking salt water. It looks like it will satisfy you, but it only leaves you thirstier. You start confusing movement with progress, activity with achievement, and noise with meaning. That's why alignment is everything. It gives your effort a reason. It turns your goals into something personal, something real. When you align your purpose with your process, success becomes a natural outcome. You stop chasing results and start living in rhythm. You stop trying to prove yourself and start improving yourself. You stop looking for shortcuts and start walking your path with patience. Alignment gives you endurance because when your purpose fuels your actions, you don't burn out, you burn bright. The work doesn't drain you anymore, it fulfills you. You still get tired, but it's a different kind of tired. It's the kind that feels right, the kind that reminds you you're on the right track. Alignment also requires honesty. You can't align your life with your purpose if you're pretending to be someone you're not. You can't move in truth while living a lie. You have to be willing to admit what's not working, who's not for you, and what no longer serves you. You have to let go of what looks good so you can build what feels right. That's the part most people avoid because it's uncomfortable. But real alignment often starts with realignment, with letting go of what's misaligned. And when you finally do that, you create space for what was meant for you to find you. The most successful people aren't the ones who do the most, they're the ones who do what's aligned. They don't chase every opportunity, they choose the right ones. They don't let noise distract them, they let purpose direct them. Because alignment gives clarity, and clarity gives confidence. You can move faster when you know where you're going. You can endure more when you know why it matters. You can say no without guilt because you understand what's worth your yes. Success becomes sustainable when it's aligned with your soul. Because now every win feels real. Every achievement has depth. Every milestone carries meaning. You don't just succeed, you grow. You don't just accomplish, you evolve. And that's the difference between living with purpose and living for approval. Alignment teaches you that success isn't about how much you get. It's about how true you remain. When who you are, what you believe, and what you do are all in sync, life feels lighter, clearer, and more powerful. Success, in its truest form, is simply the reflection of alignment. It's what happens when your inner world matches your outer world. When your habits serve your purpose, and your purpose fuels your habits. When your actions are born from conviction, not confusion. That's when things start to connect. That's when opportunities find you, people respect you, and peace follows you. Because alignment doesn't just create success, it creates significance. And when you live in alignment, success doesn't have to be chased. It comes to you as a natural result of being who you were always meant to be.